What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. It's a Friday. It's a good day to talk football. Looks like we got some 49ers news here, huh? And I'm not sure how to feel about this. Feeling that maybe the Niners are getting fleeced again from getting a player that was a former Eagle. I'm not really sure. But before that, hit the like, hit the subscribe, guys. Thank you for the support. You know I appreciate all of it. And before you come on and listen, go ahead and hit the link below. And if you like what you hear, buy me a coffee. Until then, let's go ahead and talk a little bit of Niner football here, guys. Now, news hot off the press is the Niners have decided to go out and get Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff played very well under Robert Saleh and the Jets. The problem is that when you get a guy who's a former Eagle coming into the 49ers building, you feel like there's an opportunity there to be fleeced. And I really feel like there is that opportunity here. Unless Robert Saleh has found some sort of magic with Huff, which could be. He played very well under Saleh. I'm very wary about this move. I'm not really sure it moves the needle. I'm sure there's a lot of people excited about getting a new defensive end here to help out on that line. But the bottom line is that he hasn't had a very productive career. He was drafted 5 years ago. Overall, he has 20 sacks in 5 years. That's not letting the world on fire at all. It's not really somebody I go out and get excited about. I am kind of excited if Robert Saleh has unlocked something within this man. But overall, I just feel like we get fleeced way too often when we make deals with players who have played with the Eagles. And so I'm a little bit nervous about this. I mean, last year's totals weren't great, guys. He had 2.5 sacks last year. Total. 8 assists, fine. I mean, that's not great. That's not really moving the needle. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Robert Saleh knows how to use this guy. And, I mean, it's evident that he played very well under Robert Saleh. But the bottom line is Bryce Huff to the Niners does not get me super, super excited. I'm more kind of cautious about what this guy's going to bring to the table. It's not going to be a worse defensive line with him, that's for sure. So I'm not worried about the team getting worse. I'm worried about, I guess, what the impact this really is. Of course, they know that I trust Robert Saleh. He's back. He knows what he's doing. But I am just kind of like, what are we getting here? What are we getting with this guy? Are we getting the, defensive end that in 5 years only has 20 sacks? Or are we getting a guy whose potential has been unlocked by Robert Saleh in the past, and Robert Saleh thinks that we can get something going? It's really hard to say right now. He is coming into the 49ers with another guy by the name of Bosa who can help take the pressure off a little bit. So that might work a little bit. That might help. There might be it could be a very good complementary move here for Bosa, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was. I just look at it and I go, okay, And by the way, we still haven't picked up any new offensive linemen yet, guys. And that is what really, really baffles me. I'm just going to keep going on about it. I don't know why we don't pick up some sort of decent offensive lineman to help protect that $55 million a year dude. I don't get it. Do you want a quarterback that's going to be hurt in 6 games, 7 games? I don't understand why that would be the case, but that's where we're headed if we don't get an offensive line that can protect Brock Purdy. You just signed Brock Purdy to a massive, massive contract, solidifying him as the quarterback of the 49ers' future. And I don't totally disagree with that. It was going to happen one way or the other. Am I going to say the Niners overpaid for him? That's yet to be determined. But he has gone to a Super Bowl. He has won a couple of playoff games. He deserves to get paid what the market value is. And the market value says he's $50 to $55 million a year. So that's where I'm not going to complain. And by the way, if you didn't sign Brock Purdy, what direction are you going? There really isn't another direction out there I feel better with. So I'm happy about having Brock Purdy. But now that you've paid the money, why would you go out there and run him out on the field without any protection. That doesn't make sense. Would you buy a sports car or better yet, another analogy, if you're a race car driver and you get into that race car and you're not wearing a helmet or you're not wearing any protective gear, how long do you think you last in that race car if somebody knocks you off the track? Not very long. Not very long. That stuff there, that equipment there is there to help you stay healthy and stay in one piece and stay upright. So then why would you run Brock Purdy out on the field without a seatbelt or without a helmet or without pads? You wouldn't do that. And I know that may be a little bit of a dramatic example, but it's not really. I mean, how many times do you want him running for his life? How many times do you want him sacked in a single game? He's not going to go out there and create miracles, guys. No quarterback out there who doesn't get the protection is going to be able to give you the same value as a quarterback that has protection. That's just the bottom line. Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks, and some would argue the best quarterback of all time, but he also had protection. He didn't get knocked down that often, guys. He just didn't, and that's a very big key as to how he was successful. The other part is he's just amazing, but you can't be an amazing quarterback if you can't get 3 seconds to throw the football. So while I'm cautiously optimistic about the signing of Huff and what maybe Robert Saleh could bring out of this gentleman, the bottom line is that the numbers show me, and I'm not a numbers guy usually. I go off of feeling. I go off of what I see happening game to game in real time, and I make a determination based off of that. Based off of just me playing the game a little bit and understanding it and kind of momentum and things of that nature. I'm not a big numbers guy. I couldn't be farther from that. But sometimes the numbers just don't lie. If you've been in the league for the better part of 5 years and you only have 20 sacks, you don't have to think too hard about that. That's 5 sacks a year, roughly. Not even. I mean, it's not even 5 sacks a year. I don't understand. I mean, I'm giving him credit. He's probably had more than 2.5 sacks a season, but there's last season he had 2.5 sacks, guys, and maybe he didn't play as much and all these things that make a difference. I get it, kind of phased out, but why did that happen? I don't want to see the Niners get fleeced, but he did play for Robert Saleh, and this is the only thing on my mind about why this doesn't just completely piss me off, this move. It's because Saleh knows him. He's played under Saleh, and Saleh thinks he can get something out of this guy. So, okay, I have some reason to be optimistic about it, right? So I will be a little bit. But I'm still kind of in the back of my mind thinking, this guy really hasn't performed. But if he had never played with Robert Saleh, I'd be thinking about, Niners, what the hell are you doing? Why are you not going out and at least getting another offensive lineman to help protect your quarterback? I don't get it. You got 2 good offensive linemen. Dominic Pooney came up and surprised a lot of people, and he's done extremely well. I'm hoping for him to continue on that way, but you need more than just 2 potential Pro Bowl offensive linemen. You need the rest of your offensive line to be at least decent, and they're not. The rest of those guys are really not great. So, we have a little bit to go here. We have training camp that's going to get started up soon. We're going to take a look and see what this Niner team is really all about. I'm still pretty optimistic. What I'm not optimistic about right now is what I talked about in the last episode. And the last episode was the wide receiver core being very thin. And Parcell is already hurt with a hammy issue, which means he's going to be out for a little while. So if he's going to be out for a little while, what does that mean for Parcell? Because Parcell has been out with injuries since he started playing for the 49ers. Last year was his rookie year, and aside from being shot, which he was, which he actually came back from quicker than his other injuries, he's like made of glass, guys. He just cannot stay healthy one way or the other. It bothers me because we don't have wide receivers to fall back on. Right now, the next thing the Niners need to take a look at, 2 things. Offensive linemen, you need another one. There's no doubt you need another one. You need to go out there, find somebody. Number 2, you need to get a little bit deeper in the wide receiver core. And there are free agents out there that you could go out there and take a look at signing, and I think they need to do that. That may be what they do next. I don't know. It should be. Those two positions should be the things that you should be looking at the most next. No doubt about it. And aside from that, you start looking at corners because you're going to get burnt down the field all season long in the way that I look at it right now with this core. They have no corners to speak of that are that valuable, in my opinion. I think that's going to be a weak spot for the 49ers. It's going to be very tough. If you can get pressure on the quarterback, i.e. Huff or Bosa, although Bosa has been very underwhelming the last few years. I have been a critic of Bosa for the last few years. I don't know why his numbers are down. They're good in garbage time. They're not good when it matters. And I haven't seen him make any significant progress in that area for a very long time. So Bosa to me is one of those guys that's overrated right now, quite honestly. I'm not sure bringing in Huff is going to make a big difference with that, especially since Huff is basically he's underperforming himself and has been for a while. So I don't get if this move is going to help us or not. It's not going to hurt us, but is it going to put us in a different class as far as a defensive line goes? The jury's still out on that, guys, and we'll know when we get into training camp and we see what's going on and we get a better idea in some of the preseason games. We'll get a better idea of what's going on here. So, I mean, Huff, overall, I give it a score of meh, because I don't really know what we're getting here. Are we getting fleeced? Are we getting a guy that Robert Saleh can get something out of? I only give this a decent trade value because, again, he's played with Saleh before, so Saleh knows who this is and thinks that he's got some ideas on how to use Huff in a very strategic and valuable way. So, okay, fine. Let's wait and see. I'm not doing cartwheels right now. That's for damn sure. I don't know why anybody should. We got the Gravedigger coming in here and basically laying a big fat 0 for value. So now that he's gone, we're bringing in Huff. I don't want to see the same thing. We got good offensive weapons. Okay. We got a good quarterback. We need somebody to protect him and keep him upright. Defense, hey, we need to address some things. We just spent money on the number 11 overall pick for defense, right? So why we're going out there and stacking it up even more, I'm not 100% sure we need to keep focusing on defensive line at this point. I think we've got our defensive line kind of where it needs to be, if you were to ask me. And they need to start focusing on other areas that are very worrisome. That wide receiver core is really, really scary because if somebody gets hurt, there's nobody, guys. You only have 2 wide receivers that you're throwing the ball to that you have confidence in. Parcells one who is hurt again. I don't know what the hell is going on with this guy, but since he was drafted, he's just been hurt. I mean, he's going to get hurt sitting down in his car wrong to get to the practice. He's going to get hurt if he takes a little bit too quick of a movement up one of the steps upstairs to his bedroom or laying down on his bed wrong. This guy gets hurt all the time. So talented, but gets hurt all the time. On top of that, you have a corner situation where corners are getting burnt left and right. I know you don't want the defensive line to leak like a sieve, and it was going that way last year. I definitely don't want it to because that's about one of the most frustrating things that you could witness as a fan and probably as a teammate. More so than throwing down the field and getting burnt on a deep ball. So I understand what they're doing, but it's time to start looking in other areas. Like we need offensive line and we need corners pretty damn bad. And the wide receiver core is so paper thin. If anything happens, you're in big trouble. Because you can't lean on Kittle when there are no other options. If everybody knows you're going to Kittle, makes it difficult. You can run the ball. Nobody's talking about CMC. Nobody's talking about Christian McCaffrey this offseason. Not one person is reporting on Christian McCaffrey. Watch him come out and have a stellar year. Watch him come out and just kick ass, guys. I am waiting to see Christian McCaffrey come out and light this thing on fire. I think he will. I think he definitely will do that. But that's talk for offense. Listen, the less you hear about offensive players, the better. That means that they're in sync and everything's going the right way. No news sometimes is good news, guys. That's the bottom line. But what I want to say is that I haven't heard anything about offensive line. And we all know they need that. We all know they need the offensive line. So I keep harping on that. But, hey, guys, we got Robert Saleh back. I'm super excited to see what happens with this defense. I'm very, very excited to see what he does with this defense. Turn this defense around. That'll solve a lot of problems. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works with Huff. The numbers don't lie usually. I would like to see that he turn this around, and I'm a guy who believes people can turn their career around. And if they find the right spot on the right team with the right coach, anything can happen. Let's hope that happens with Huff because, hey, I think the Niners have a great chance at making playoffs this year, even though they're in a semi-rebuild. I won't call this a rebuild. They've got lots of talent on the team, and they've got rookie talent or second-year players coming in that are ready to make that next step. Nobody's talking about Isaac Guerrero, who I think is an absolute beast. We need to be thinking about him because he could have a breakout season doing kick returns or backup to Christian McCaffrey or maybe even a backup to Kittle as a tight end. This guy can do anything when it comes to those positions. He could really do any one of those if he stays healthy. Another guy who has had hamstring and leg injuries and stuff like that have just plagued him since college. If it all can go together right, guys, it's going to be a fun season. I'm excited about watching football no matter what. I always get jacked up about it. I'm ready to watch football now. I think the Niners are heading in a great direction. Don't get me wrong. This is a way to avoid a total rebuild by what they're doing. They cut a lot of dead weight. Are they Super Bowl ready this season? Who knows? Right now, I say no, but who knows? It could change. It could definitely change after we see what goes on in training camp. Well, we see what's going on with preseason games, and then we can make a better decision on how good this team could possibly be. But they're definitely in the mix because they have a light schedule this year, guys. It's not a super tough path. It's not a gauntlet. And anything compared to last year where everybody was hurt will feel like an improvement for sure. So let's just watch the Niners, see what they do. I'll keep reporting on training camp. I'll try to get some guests in here to talk a little bit about 49er football and what they think is going on in the coming weeks and months. But for now, guys, hey, just keep watching the podcast. And remember, like I said, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. I'm working hard to get me on front of you guys on different platforms. We're trying to get on Spotify now as we speak. So we're going to make that happen. So look out to see this podcast elevate to different platforms as well. Keep hitting the like, keep hitting the subscribes. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Can't do it twice. Subscribe if you haven't. And guys, thank you again. I'll see you in the next one.